don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything.
Gentle loving hugs, and thanks for tuning in to the Fibro Friends radio show here on healthinforadio.com, part of the Entertainment Global Media Network, broadcasting out of heavenly Clearwater, Florida. If you feel like doing nothing at all today, then just sit back or lie down. We're here to educate you with a full spectrum of information on fibro, advocate on the behalf of all fibro friends for fibro awareness and the need for more research, and support each other with laughter and love. New to fibro? Wonder what it is? Fibromyalgia is a complex chronic disorder involving a malfunction in how the brain processes pain, which leads to other multiple dysfunctions in the body. Some of the main symptoms of fibro are pain and fatigue, sleep disorder, memory and concentration, depression, digestive disorders, hypersensitivity. So today, you've tuned into Fibro Friends. So please welcome your host, Laura Rosa.
Hi, and welcome to another show of Fibro Friends. Today we have JW on the line, and our subject of discussion is going to be dating while having fibro. Very interesting conversation we had yesterday at our support group. Thought I'd bring it on the air and get some input from people outside. Get your thoughts. How are you doing tonight, JW? I can't hear you. I don't know if it's my microphone or my headphones or if she fell off the air. Where's JW? JW, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It's like it's one of those telephone commercials.
Yeah, I got a new phone. It's not real reliable, so if you lose me, I'll have to apologize. And the other thing is, I called you just as I was leaving the restaurant, so I'm sitting here with my windows rolled down in the parking lot, and you're going to hear a little traffic. Occasionally somebody walking by having conversation.
Well, they can join in. Ask them what they think about dating while having fibromyalgia. The more the merrier. Sorry you weren't able to be with us last night. It got to be quite an interesting discussion. We have gentlemen come through all the time. We have one gentleman who's a permanent fixture of our group. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. But this gentleman came in and announced that for 4 years he's been coming in and out of our group, and he really just wants a relationship, and he thinks finding the right woman for him would be in a support group, somebody who shares the commonality of having fibro. Now, what do you have thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's kind of rough if you have somebody come in just saying they're looking for someone to fill a certain need.
Yes.
And they don't seem really interested in getting to know people for themselves.
That was the point we were trying to make.
If you did pick up with them, you'd feel like store-bought goods. But I can appreciate his thought about having somebody else with fibro as a partner. I've given some thought to that myself. Of course, my perspective's a little bit different because I'm a lesbian. So,
but dating is dating. So to me, it doesn't matter. Wherever we all want to find love. Thank you.
I'm glad to know that. Not that you needed to tell me. And I don't mind that you're heterosexual either.
Well, thank you.
I'll forgive you for it.
I appreciate that. Let's go to two-way street here.
But I think, people are people.
Exactly.
And, in my opinion, the best way to meet people is to get involved in things that you're really interested in.
Right.
and then if you do happen to meet someone, at least you've got something in common.
Exactly.
And
But
yeah,
it doesn't stop there.
sure.
It has to have
And
the other
there's something
commonalities.
to be said for good friendships too. They
Absolutely.
become just as valuable as those more lust-filled relationships do
I
in their own way.
Some of my best loves have actually, all of them have come out of an amazing friendship that turned into a passionate relationship.
Right,
And
right.
that was the foundation.
Yeah. And the more you do that kind of thing, the more likely you are to find, the right person who just happens along.
Right.
I've always said if you go looking for someone, that's what you wind up with, someone.
That's
But,
very well put.
or somebody. You wind up with somebody.
And that's what it sounds like he's been getting. A few somebodies here and there, and not the person that he has in his head. And it sounds like he's got some pretty particulars that are important that need to be met on his scale. But he wanted some honest answers. We said, well, the last time you showed up at a social function, you sat in the corner with your arms folded and you weren't approachable. And, we've seen you sit there and he said, yes, only two people spoke to me at that function. And another member said, well, I saw you over there and I didn't have anyone to talk to. And when I started heading over to you just to say hi, you already had someone else, but no one wants to
Right.
feel left out. But as a friend, as a human being, that's where it's not, we don't have like the AA rules, no dating. It's, hey, if you can find love, go for it. There's not enough going around in the world, and I think anything that supports love in whatever way is a positive thing.
Well, sure. I think so too. It sounds like he wants someone to take care of him.
Could be.
And he's just kind of sitting back waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
By showing up.
Right.
And showing up is all you have to do. But,
No, it's much more than that.
The thing is, too, that maybe it's harder for men to say, is that it's kind of scary when you have fibro because you don't know if anybody's really going to want you.
And that's something I've heard members say. I feel like damaged goods, and I have to jump on them and say, everybody has something in their world that's not perfect, and you are not your disorder. You just are a person who has this disorder or this disease or whatever you want to call it. And
Right.
I think if somebody that's single now, were to find a relationship, most likely I think their life in the fibro world would improve. If their emotions are, that feeling when you're sharing your life and have somebody caring for you and you caring for them, it increases the endorphins. Your lows aren't so low.
Right.
Your flares are shorter because you have a
Well,
reason to want to get up and do something that day because it's fun to play with your friend.
yeah, it forces you out of yourself.
Yes.
Is really what it is, and it's not that people with fibro purposely withdrawing to themselves, but the pain and fatigue is so overwhelming.
It's a natural stage to do.
That it's very difficult to get beyond it.
Yes, it
And
is.
you almost need an inspiration to that can move you to look outside sometimes to pull you out.
Yes, and it can be just a good
But
friend.
it's even more important to see yourself as someone more than the illness, because the illness feels like it's sucking your life away from you.
If that's all you've got going on in your world and all you're looking at are your appointments to your doctors and your physical therapist, it can consume you. and I have
Well,
spent time there.
yeah, I'm thinking too, just about the way your body feels.
Yes, it
Yeah, of
does.
course.
It does. It
Yeah,
can be
I have a
horrible.
number of complicating circumstances, and I don't know if that makes things different for me than it does from people that primarily have fibro. You
Well,
know,
I think
because all these things are kind of interconnected.
yes,
But
we all have other issues outside of our fibro, just of the nature of the
right,
beast. Yet,
I just find that even doing things like leaning over the sink to brush my teeth is um, a really difficult thing to do. It's painful.
right, you've got a lot of
You know,
spinal.
and when your life is like that, where everything, every small little thing is a job,
Right.
is an effort, and is painful and exhausting, then it's easy to feel like your whole life is being consumed unless you're able to really maintain a strong sense of self, at
Bingo.
least to pull you back out when you're tempted to go that way.
Yes, and it is the nature of the beast, and I really support people getting people in place for those times in our lives where we just feel like we can't take care of ourselves, let alone add anybody else into the equation. But if you can
Right,
get 2, 3, or 4 good, solid friends that understand what your days are like when they're down to call and say, I am so far in the gutter right now. I just need to not talk to a human being that's functioning and remind me what it's like on my days that are not so bad
right.
sometimes. And
Yes, you're absolutely right, and I think that's the other thing about the group, and maybe why um, it's particularly difficult to have someone that's coming in looking for a partner, because you know what it means to have the support of each other as people who share a common struggle, and that's very meaningful. I mean, I only made it to your group once because it's about 30 miles in each direction. In fact, I'm looking forward to having one closer that I can actually go to, and I'm sure many others are too, and I know that's going to happen soon.
actually, we have a caller, I believe, if I don't know how to use this computer, that says you have a call waiting. Do we have a caller on the line?
Yes, you do. It's Sharon.
Hi, Sharon. You're speaking with Laura and JW.
Hi there, JW.
JW, can you hear Sharon?
I will.
I think I might have hung up on her.
No,
But-
you didn't. I'm here.
No, I think I hung up on JW.
Oh,
I got to learn how to use this. I need my boss just left. Well, go ahead and share your thoughts here, Sharon. Are you with me, Sharon?
I'm here.
Okay. And you called in. Thank you for calling in. And
I just wanted to I was listening to the two of you, and everything you were saying was so dead on.
thank you. And do you have any experience? Have you dated or
Well, I just really, everything the two of you have been saying is incredibly true. I'm very much living proof of it.
uh-huh.
As far as my situations are concerned, and I think just even previously seeing it happen to friends or patients of mine, it seems that you've got to, if you're already in a relationship, it has to be a pretty solid, unbelievably unconditional love when you are involved with someone that does develop fibro and or more health problems.
Absolutely.
Because your entire lifestyle really does change. And everything that you once knew and did is altered and has to be handled a little differently.
Right.
And there's so many things that have to be accepted through unconditional love.
And you know,
And
that's it's a rare quality. to
It really is. It's
find
a rare quality in
unconditional
two
love.
healthy people's relationships.
Exactly.
Let alone with one, or in an older age bracket, which I'm in, people are getting sick. They are
True.
starting with
That's right.
hypertension. They are starting with different problems. And both male and female are going through this. And very often people are also looking, like you had said in the beginning, for someone to take, I think it was Jess that said something about this man you had discussed earlier was looking for someone to take care of him.
Right.
And it was very clear from my perspective that was true. And that's okay. I mean, it's very hard to be going through what a lot of us are and not have anybody there to give you the extra help and things that you just can't do by yourself anymore. But
Oh, definitely. I'm back.
Hi. Good to have you back. You're all on.
Incredibly hard and very sad. And yet, at the same time, it ends up being where when you put two people in that situation together,
That could have its own challenges.
and I will try. I'm listening to the audio and I lost where I was.
Welcome to the Fibro world. So you're really coming
Exactly.
from a place.
I wanted to just kind of, say the two of you, this is a really good show because I can't imagine that all of us really haven't faced it, whether we're married or single. It really doesn't matter. It's something that when you have a chronic illness or even a really serious illness that you don't even have that long, it's all part of a package where you do feel insecure. It's very hard to meet someone that actually can't really understand what you're going through.
Correct.
And yet if you meet someone who's got the same kind of issues, that presents a whole world of new issues.
It could be positive and
It's
negative.
difficult.
The other thing about it is, I don't know. I mean, I'm 65, so that might have something to do with it. But I don't really have the energy to be very sexual anymore. I don't
Right.
think about it,
And it hurts. I mean, our bodies hurt.
It can.
Yeah.
However you rock and rolled earlier in your life, you can't
Right.
do that anymore. But that's also true of people as we're getting older anyway. It's going to be a little different for men and women. So throw that pain factor in where you might even really be in the mood and just put your body on a bed. It hurts to go to sleep sometimes.
Right.
Let alone have yourself in other ways, other
Well,
positions.
yeah, and I know a lot of people, with fibro just cannot stand to be touched. They find it excruciating.
Exactly.
So, it's a difficult thing. I think the real advantage is if you have a partner that maybe you've been with for many, many years, and you've got two incomes, and they sort of slowly have gotten used to the way things are for you, and they've gone along with it, and they've adapted. It's a little bit different under those circumstances, but starting off brand new is it can happen, because I think, love does happen to us.
Yes.
In a way. We allow it, but we encounter it and we make a choice. And a lot can be overlooked in those circumstances because you just do. But it's a little bit harder to put ourselves out there.
Yep.
And to be receptive and to even notice if someone seems available to us.
But there is a lot of single people in this world right now, and a lot of 50 plus. And, I think there's some very lonely people that have so much to offer, and they may, even if they're in a somewhat healthy place, may just think, if I could just find that right kind of person where my personality clicks, I'll take their baggage. I just want someone to love and appreciate me for who I am. So nobody needs to assume that they're damaged goods. I want to really try and change her her perspective, the particular lady who said that, because yes, we have an invisible disease. So from the outside, she looked very healthy and she's attractive and, and she does get out and to do things here and there just because she needs to be around people, but she won't
Well,
consider dating because
right. I mean, we do have to remind ourselves and each other that we are not damaged goods. We're just as capable of loving.
absolutely.
All right,
Okay.
I'm guilty. I'm the one she's talking about.
Okay.
Oh, really?
However, okay. Okay. All right. But I don't think that's.
And I'll be honest.
I mean,
it's hard to overcome that. It really is. It's
of course it is. But
not just
but
one. It's a whole bunch of things too, because I have other issues, just like you guys do, and I've just come out of a situation recently after 6 years where I became sick 3 years into it, and I was treated like a piece of crap, and I just I was just completely pushed out. He didn't want to have anything to do with really any aspect of dealing with someone who's become sick.
Move on.
I had the message from an ex who was very, very cruel to me when I started to become more ill, okay, who said to me ultimately, I want somebody who's in better health, who's better looking, and has money.
Yeah. Well,
that's a shallow person.
And meant it completely.
My ex.
Yeah, they need to meet. Sometimes people may have more money and more that they don't wear it on their sleeve. And they want to know whether people can fall into a love interest with who they are, not with what they have. And they may not let you know that they have a pretty loaded bank account. I don't want to know what a man has, honestly. I want to know who he is for me. And anything else is icing on the cake. If he can live a comfortable life and enjoy all the luxuries that you cannot do without money. But to me, it's all about connection. And my litmus test is when I wake up in the morning, if my first thought isn't, what can I do for my lover today? And it's, what's he going to do for me? Then it's time for me to reevaluate my relationship.
Very true.
And that's...
And really, people at our age, well, I mean, only because I feel like once you're kind of over that 50 mark, women do think of relationships a little differently. At least I do.
Than our 20s and 30s.
When I was 30.
Absolutely.
And I think the most important thing that I long for or wish for would be to meet someone for the companionship.
Exactly. And I think that's where I'm going.
There's nothing more, that friendship, that companionship where you can sit and laugh and you can be honest with each other, how you're feeling, and you trust each other implicitly.
That the trust is there,
it's
right?
Really
you gotta
about
have the
companionship as you get older.
And we are
all
capable of companionship.
These darling old couples walking hand in hand.
I love that.
It's not about their sex life anymore.
No.
Or
you never know.
You don't know.
Well, some of them, yes, and they do their very best.
Yes, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's true that our needs. Well, it's not only that. I mean, first of all, you have to be someone who's capable of loving in order to appreciate a mature relationship.
That is so
Otherwise, you want someone to meet your needs. You don't want someone to share needs with. You want someone to meet yours. If you don't have the emotional maturity and you don't have a good sense of self.
Right. You've got to come as whole and complete.
Then you feel like somebody else has to
fulfill
the part of you that's missing.
Right.
And instead of that you're missing companionship that you'd like to share yourself that you have with somebody else who has their self,
They have to be okay with who they are, with or without you. Right.
Yeah, most people have to be okay with who they are.
Big chunk of growing.
The other day, she said that you can't possibly give love if you don't love yourself.
You can't
You
give
just
something
can't.
you don't
And
have.
that is such a true statement.
It is. You don't have it. You know, I used to always talk to my clients about when I was doing psychotherapy about, you know, if you give yourself up, there's nothing there. There's nothing left.
Right.
But if you give of yourself, you grow bigger.
That's right. So
True.
when we are whole and complete, another person will just enhance who we are. They won't
Right.
complete us.
Right. But on the other hand, I think when people get into a place where, you know, they're having the time where they really don't feel like, say they feel like they're damaged goods. Okay.
Okay.
And that's a temptation. And I think we do tend to all sort of fall into it from time to time. It's important to listen to that too, because people need to be understood from where they're coming from before you could move them beyond that place.
Yes. You have
You
to
know,
you have to meet them
I
at
know
that
for
level.
myself, joining this group has
Yeah.
helped. It's probably done more for me than any medicine or surgery or talking to people medically than I can even imagine, because
There's
it
the
is
proof in the
giving me
pudding.
back the strength to rise above and not be my illnesses.
And I've
Well,
seen you in
Realize
pain.
I'm still a woman. I love to laugh. I still love life. I want to fulfill my bucket list. It's really given me just so much that I'm starting to move out of that, I guess, poor me place, as well as the anger that you go through.
Yeah.
yes.
when you
That
become
can be
so
a place
ill.
to be stuck in.
I fall there pretty often still.
Well, not
but I
if you
get snapped out of it
hanging out
quickly.
with us. We're not going to let you.
That's what I mean. You guys have, talking to so many of you, I mean, I've met so many amazing people that have made an incredible impression in my life, more than people I've known for years.
Wow,
And
that's cool.
I really appreciate that.
Well, you are quite a sparkle. You know, you've got a bright light shining there. You have a lot to offer this world. And
You sure do, Sharon. I mean, I've only talked to you a few times on the phone, and but you know, I just feel like you're somebody that I really easily like and feel very comfortable with, and you know, I think you got a lot going for you in terms of just the person that you are.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
And
Well,
just
we talked even only a couple of times, but we talked probably 10 hours. Because we clicked immediately, especially because we're both ex-nurses.
that's cool.
So we really clicked, and, again, like you guys had said in the beginning of the show, it's important, to find a commonality. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship or a friendship.
Right.
With everybody, if you got that common thread, it can make as if you've been knowing each other for years.
Yes.
And you forget about, I mean, I know, like, when I've talked with both of you, I don't think about that I hurt or I'm sick one drop of the time that I do when I'm alone.
Your focus changes.
Because we're talking about just being women and things that we're
exactly
about or hoping to do or whatever, and it makes us feel healthy and normal.
We are healthy and normal in our head. It just doesn't
Well,
always come
we-
out that way.
yeah.
It's so
We
hard.
can still think and talk.
Yes.
Or at least we can still talk.
And
Mm-hmm.
we have our little gaps in memory, but we get that about each other.
Well, it's kind of funny. I was trying to explain this to the doctor. In fact, I have to tell you about my visit to the doctor, because this is someone I've only seen a few times, since I moved up here in April. And she's always been busy taking notes and filling out the forms and prescribing the things according to protocol.
Right.
But I had a CT in my spine, and she actually sent the report to me in the mail, and I didn't receive it before I saw her, and she was a bit upset that I hadn't gotten it. But here she was with a report on her computer screen, and she actually turned around and sat and said, "Okay, tell me about it." You know, and then she explained the CT scan, which was pretty horrible. But you know, she listened to me for a change.
Yeah.
And in the course of doing this, I was trying to tell her how I forget things, and I had taken my walker in because it's a long walk to get in there, and it's a big building. And I get awfully tired and it hurts a lot. So, you know, I took my walker, and I'm saying to her, I forget the simplest things. I can't understand what they are. And I said, well, then the conversation went on, and I said I needed to bring this thing in here with me today. I don't need it all the time, but when I come places like this, I need it. And I said, what do you call it? And I'm tapping it on the arm, and finally the word walker comes out. You know, it's like, oh my God.
And she's assuming you know that. Then it has to be something more complicated, and it's like, no.
Well, I'm a nurse.
That simple.
You know, it's not only that I own the thing. I'm a nurse. You know?
Oh, well,
I
you know, I
definitely
relate
have my
to
moments.
that. It actually kills me that I can't believe that at one time I could talk and sound pretty bright. And now I can't find sometimes just the simplest words to describe something that I'm asking or talking about. It's so frustrating. And actually, when you're around people that understand what fibro fog is, they can help fill in the words.
Yes,
know
and not
saying,
be insulting.
Especially a nurse. You know, I mean, it's just, when you and I were talking, and we were talking about our patients and what we did in our nursing careers, I couldn't remember half the words, but you knew what they were. And vice versa.
You're familiar.
And it's the same thing with Laura. I'll be trying to talk to her and say something about, something about crafts, and I will not be able to come up with the simplest word.
So you'll describe it enough, and I'll
somebody that realizes you're not just being. It's not Alzheimer's. It's not dementia.
It's like playing the word password.
But they
game.
get it, and they can help you. And that,
especially when they know the words, that really helps.
Yeah, really.
You need someone with a decent vocabulary.
We've all been talking, and none of us remember the words.
Together, we don't have to remember all the words all the time.
Oh, it gets pretty darn funny.
You have to have a sense of humor.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you this joke, okay?
Okay.
There's 3 Fibro Friends. There's Karen, Lauren, and JW.
Uh-huh.
And because they're living on disability, they don't have any money, and it's a recession, so they get a place together. They move in together.
Right.
And
the shed has rats in
Laura is in the middle of the stairway, and the phone rings, okay? And she tries to go answer it, but then she hears that it's picked up. So there she is, and she says, "Now wait a minute, was I going up the stairs or down the stairs?" And JW was getting ready to run a bath, and I had the water on in the bathtub, and she thought she heard the phone ring, so she turned it off. And then she goes back to what she's doing, and she says, "Now was I getting in the tub or out of the tub?" And Sharon, she knocks on the table, which is wood, and says, "Well, thank goodness somebody in this place has still got their wits about them." And then she pauses and looks around and says, "Now, was that the front door or the back door?"
The only people are laughing are people with fibro.
I mean, it's true. I'll walk around the house and go,
That is a great joke,
in my
JW.
hand and get ready to go out, and I won't have a clue where I'm going.
I've done that forever. Today, though, I was in my kitchen, and it occurred to me that I needed to make a call to somebody, and it was really, really important. I needed to go do it.
Whatever.
So
Right.
I dry off my hands, I turn around, I walk halfway, and I don't know, I stopped to say hello to my dog or something. And then I'm just standing there for the longest time trying to figure out who it was that I needed to call so desperately. And I'm just really panicking because it was like, I better do it before lunchtime. And it was like 10 minutes to 12.
They close for lunch, so you're narrowing it down to it's probably a business.
Oh,
Jessie, that is a classic joke, and I'm so
I
impressed you could tell it
just
so
had
well.
somebody really be nasty to me. I was in sweet tomatoes. Okay, now this might be a little disgusting, but
Oh, bring it on!
standing at the soup thing, and steam makes my nose run. Okay, and so I kind of dabble at it and accidentally drop the Kleenex. Well, I knew I couldn't pick it up.
Where'd
They
you
would have
drop
had a
it?
lot more on the floor if I would have tried.
I got you on the floor. Okay.
So I just pretended it wasn't there. I kind of kicked it under. I knew they'd have to sweep it, but they would use a long-handled broom and dustpan,
Right.
and it wouldn't be a big issue. It would give somebody a job.
Keep the
But-
economy going.
creating jobs.
So this young woman comes up behind me, and
No.
she said, pick up your nasty
No.
because nobody wants to pick up your snotty Kleenex. And I said, I'm sorry, but I've got a broken spine. She said, I don't care. She goes and sits
God.
down. And I went and sat down and ate the rest of my food, and I'm thinking to
You're
myself,
mad.
I was a nurse for 35 years. I cleaned up everybody's everything, and I thought about just walking up to her. In fact, I was going to, except she was already gone on my way out, and just giving her a load of all this stuff that I've had spilled on me and that I picked up from live bodies and dead my whole lifetime.
She
And
just
just
putting back
see if
down.
she turns green and loses her lunch, how she feels about it,
Unfortunately, there are a tremendous amount of ignorant people, and
Yeah.
it isn't just that she was ignorant to someone that has health issues. She's ignorant about, I'm sure, about everything with everybody.
And she's
That
got
was
some
just
deep
a-
anger
I can't say
Oh,
a dirty
probably.
word,
that came
can I?
from nothing
But
had to do
what
with
can we
you.
do?
If I
You were a
could.
target.
It was just disgusting. I mean, she was the disgusting person.
She should have.
And you just-
I
that-
think if I
Actually, you were probably incredibly nice. I'm from
Yep.
New York. I would have probably laid her out.
you would have picked it up and broke your back,
Well-
made it really bad, and dropped it on her. Because obviously this intimidated her
But,
quite
you know,
a bit.
That's part of,
Put it on her-
unfortunately, the lack of compassion and understanding that there is across the board.
I'm hoping
The
to
way
change
people
that.
treat each other, let alone those of us that have disabilities, and especially those of us that have invisible disabilities.
That
Yeah,
can be the
there's a
most
part of me
painful.
that just sort of wants to ignore people like that because they're not worth a response. And I want to eat my food while it's still hot.
But it
There's
had to
another
get
part of
to
me that
ya.
wants to kind of grab them by the collar and say, "You little whippersnapper!"
Yeah, you've got so
wait
much
until you're an
more
old woman,
age and wisdom. And
I would have turned to her and said, "Karma, honey, karma." What
that's
goes around
that's
comes
a
around.
very appropriate
That's
response.
good. I never think about things quickly enough. I'm usually just kind of stunned, and then
Yeah, I would have been stunned by that too.
yeah.
But I have been in that predicament where normally, yeah, I would clean up after myself, but if it's physically impossible for me to do, and I recognize that, honestly, I
Yeah.
spilled my drink at Walmart, okay, while I'm checking
Mhm.
out, and my cart is full, and it's just dripping, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so exhausted, and nobody knows it's there but me. And I said to the cashier, I'm really sorry, but there's a spill under my cart. I don't want somebody to get hurt. Do you have any
Right.
paper towels? So that's about the best I can offer. I'm so exhausted by the time I get to the checkout. I just want to get my cart and run after I got my receipt. But
Yeah.
then what's going to happen to the poor person that comes behind me? I just, I certainly would hate for them to slip and fall and live a life of disability.
Oh,
'Cause,
I know. I mean, I wind up slicing stuff all the time, and I usually have to tell somebody and apologize and ask, but what can you do? I mean, I don't know, how much do you guys have a problem with being really stiff?
yes,
Physically
absolutely.
stiff.
In the
So, like if
morning,
you buy a cup of coffee, your whole arm just kind of jerks when you try to lift it up to take a sip.
at
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
it just depends on the
I have
day
a
and
lot of trouble with that.
getting out of my car. I mean, you name it.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
if
Well,
I get my attitude adjusted right, I feel like I can take on the world. And
what's
it's
that?
if I get my attitude right, where I listen to motivational tapes in my car when I drive.
Yeah.
That's my place and time where I can do it. And if I really have my head on in a good place, there's not much that can throw me. And I'm starting to really appreciate and understand the power of attitude. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
really get that through to the others in our group, how powerful that is to
Well,
just know.
I said to you the other day that what impresses me the most is you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk.
That was the
And
nicest
you're
compliment
incredibly
I've ever
inspirational
had.
to me. Because
Thank
I
you.
really do aspire to be like you,
Oh,
and I
melt my
really
heart.
fail.
You do not. Gosh. Gosh.
well, I mean, I think we have to sometimes offer ourselves as little pick me ups, but
Yeah.
sort of, I've kind of gotten to a place where I just feel like I trust myself.
Yes.
If I go through a period where I'm kind of down and low key, and all I'm going to do is sleep, um, or eat too much or whatever, I just do it, and I figure when I'm done with it, I'll be done with it, and then I'll be ready for something else. It
That,
doesn't frighten me. It
that's
doesn't
good.
frighten me to. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. It's sort of like this is how things are now. In every situation, you're just being real, and you learn something from it. You know,
Always.
you realize things, and your overall perspective is I'm okay. I'm okay when
Yes.
I'm up. I'm okay when I'm down. I'm okay when I feel good. I'm okay when I don't.
That's a really
And
well
and
healthy
that
thinking.
works for me.
I think a lot of people need to really run that one over a few times because I think that's a huge point you just made. That really just stop and think right now. Everything is really okay. The house is not
Yeah,
on fire. I'm breathing. The phone's not ringing with somebody with dire needs. Everything right here, right now is okay. My body's a little out of whack when it's not in sync with my mind, but I'm okay.
right,
Yeah,
right,
it's
right.
acceptance.
Because you can also put yourself in a spot where you don't allow yourself to have needs or to burst out in tears or whatever when maybe that's what you need to do. You know.
Sometimes if it builds up so much where everything could go wrong, does go wrong, I know we have a point in our life where those things happen and it's going to come out one day, one way. And sometimes just having a big screaming, crying, get it out session it can be very releasing, or
Uh-huh.
it's better than kicking the dog or saying something nasty to a stranger.
Well,
That's
sure.
just detrimental to you and the other person or whatever living being that's there. And we have so many single women in our group. It's a man's disease. I don't want to take away from that yet. And I feel like as a team, these women could just set the world on fire by them each contributing a little. But on our own, it's so difficult to be responsible for a household. And I believe very strongly in pets. but they take time and energy too, but they give back. That's going to be our topic next week. Yes, I don't want to go too far into that. It is very difficult to manage a life by yourself with
Oh,
paying
yeah.
bills and washing and the house clean to meet what the world expects of a person
Well,
to do.
I've reached a point where I'm beginning to think about assisted living. I mean, it's kind of funny because in order to qualify, you have to need help with bathing, medication, or dressing.
Right.
Now, I can do those things. I could use some help brushing my teeth and putting on my shoes, but
Right.
otherwise I can do those things. What I can't do is consistently prepare meals,
Me either.
take out trash, do laundry,
Right.
wash dishes.
Right. And then
And-
you have one day of
and-
energy and you don't want to waste it on that.
Well,
Stuff.
it's not just energy. I mean, I've had 4 spinal surgeries, and now I've got, excessive bone growth at the ends where they
Ugh.
put rods in.
Right.
Plus, I've got a prolapse underneath where the surgical sites are, further down in my back, and my spinal cord's being pinched in 4 different places.
I can imagine the pain that you must be under.
Well, to turn, to twist, to bend at all, neck,
Yeah.
head, trunk, anything.
Those younger folks take that so for granted.
Well, yeah, we do. And housekeeping, just basic housekeeping, leaning over the sink.
Uh-huh.
I cannot stand it in lifting anything.
Right. How lightweight it is. It's
Yeah.
over your head.
And
Sweeping a
the
front
thing is,
porch.
it's sort of like I can't get a wheelchair from VA because my legs still work, but my spine doesn't.
To me, why would it matter if your spine doesn't work and your legs do? It just means your legs are working extra hard to make up for your spine. So
Well, exactly.
I don't get why they can't qualify
it's exhausting because my hips lock up, and then I just have to kind of pitch myself forward when I'm walking very far. But the other thing is that for assisted living, there's those 3 criteria about bathing, medications, and dressing.
Right.
But it doesn't matter if you can't feed yourself; you could starve to death.
Right.
What's important is whether or not you need somebody to give you a bath.
Right.
And they need to revise those things to accommodate for the needs of real people.
And, I know the place to go to get that
I don't know
done.
about the assisted livings here in Florida, but I'm from Virginia, and I was a home health nurse up there.
Yeah.
So I was going to assisted living facilities all the time because
Yeah.
the nurses that are there couldn't do what I was able to do.
Like
Anyway,
wound care.
my point is, especially about the wheelchair, I know that the majority of the assisted livings you were not allowed to come if you were in a wheelchair. You had to be able to ambulate on your own.
Right.
Oh my
They
gosh.
don't like that down here.
I think it's that everyone has their own set of rules.
Well,
More.
see, I go in a wheelchair. I'm on a scooter.
If it is true in
Right.
Florida, it needs to change as well as up there, because that is an absurd thing to exclude a group of people that might need
Well,
this
sure.
wheelchair to
It should
get
be
the meals.
left to the individual doctors to make that call for their
Yeah.
patient.
Well, I
And they
mean,
need to
the
respect the
problem is
doctor.
with managed care and the kind of restrictions we have under Medicare and Medicaid these days. It's all programmed, so
Yeah.
you have to fit into the slots, and if you don't fit into the slots,
You don't.
you don't qualify.
And it's
It's
ridiculous.
It's really unfortunate. Now, see, I'm looking at some places in Southern California that are on the beach or close to the beach, or
Oh, wow.
Well, I don't know that any of this is going to materialize, but
It's always good to look.
if I can be on the beach someplace where there's no hurricanes, and I hate the weather in Florida.
Just near the water because it's so healing. It's just
Yes.
It is.
unbelievably
Yeah.
I think we need to get a place on the beach central kitchen and living room, dining room, part-time maid. Everybody has their own private bedroom and bath, and
And
is
you can
allowed their
bring your
pets.
animals,
Yes,
which is,
pets for
I mean,
sure.
my doctors have told me right out I should not live alone. I'm not capable of it anymore. But I'm
Well,
not
you
willing
know,
to give up my
that's
dog.
true. If we all lived together, I mean, that would be. There was a triplex for sale on the beach.
I'll rent my house out, and I'll be right there. Let's set it up.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing
Yeah.
for
We'd
this
never get any sleep.
organization,
Yeah.
especially the national end, to try to put together
People, yes.
A community type, kind of an assisted living, but doesn't have to follow the restrictions of
Right,
vegetarian
that isn't geared towards
Well,
the
bring your
elderly and
animals. You can
aging.
bring a wheelchair or whatever you need.
It could just be a group of us, however small, 2 or 3 or 4 or more,
Right.
living jointly and sharing expenses. I mean,
it would be much less expensive.
And renting renting a place would probably be a good idea, and that way we don't have as big of a commitment. And we have to let our audience know that even though we were going to talk about being single,
right?
When the three of us, I don't know if we've ever had a conversation together, but whenever any 2 of the 3 of us or more talk together, you never know where the conversation's going.
That's right. That's why it's an open-ended show.
True.
We get a subject and we get 5 minutes into it, and then it's a free-for-all.
But I think that's a really creative solution. Like if the 2 of you and maybe whoever else wants to rent a place jointly, we could certainly do that. Or I don't know if anybody's up to buying. I would be willing to rent. I don't think I really want to jump into buying.
I think what would be wise is to get a financial investor who understands the needs of because we have gals in their 20s and 30s that would fit the mold of assisted living, so to speak, with the same kind of problems that we're having, but because of your age, you qualify more because it's age related, but that they could create a facility. They're doing it for the college kids. They have these 4 bedrooms. They rent them for $500 a room, furnished, and you just show up, and these kids live there. But and then do one for people with disabilities, and and I think you could do 6 or 8.
There are things like run by the state for people with.
I don't want this run by the state.
Disabilities. The thing we have to be careful with when you get into calling something a facility rather than a private residence.
Well, I want to call it a private residence.
Then you have to deal with the state, because then you have to get certified.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. And then you've got all these regulations.
It should be a private residence.
It's better for people to sort of just group together the people that, need companionship or want to have others in their home environment, together, just among themselves and rent or buy a property.
Yeah. And if there was let's say an investor who could put the money in to convert maybe a hotel or who knows what on the beach, because I think that's very therapeutic. Yet it's fenced in.
Doing contracts like
it and have it remodeled.
I had a thought of trying to make a deal with the Marriott residence, and there's one on the beach nearby. I won't say anything more about it because I don't want to implicate them too much in public.
Right.
But I thought about going to them and saying, would you be willing to work something out to let me have a room and meals and housekeeping and laundry, like in exchange for I could do some promotion and advertising for them,
Sure, and you would do
I
an
could
excellent
do
job.
some, I mean, I, I'm
You know,
still have my
during the
nursing
economic
license.
times we're in, bartering
Bartering is
is
another great way to
bartering.
go.
very, very popular soon. I
Yep.
Right,
think, because
but
you're
also I love to
healthy
drive and I
and
love to travel, and I wouldn't mind visiting their different residences anywhere, actually, if they'll pay for my transportation.
Right?
And evaluate them for handicap accessibility
Right?
and comfort.
It can be
And
done.
even the cruise ships, some people live on cruise ships.
Wow.
They can afford it. In some ways, I mean, I can't afford it, but in some ways, it's not really that expensive because you have no utilities and
Your
your
meals
food
are paid.
and
You have
everything is taken care of.
they take care of you like you're a king or queen. Yeah.
Right, right.
It's really a wonderful
So,
experience.
there might be ways for us as a group to go to some of these places and say, look, if we can do something to help promote your business or assist your business in some way, I can be an on-call. If I live in a residence, I can be kind of an on-call health consultant. I mean, as somebody's
Right.
got,
You're definitely qualified.
yeah, I mean, I can sort of look at someone and stop the waiting while we're waiting for an ambulance or
Triage them at least.
direct them to the right place.
Yep.
If they don't need 911, but they're visiting from out of town, they need a doctor, they need a hospital, they need.
You can get them directed to the best kind of care based on their symptoms.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Or if they do need 911, you can be there and hold their hand till they get there. Sometimes
Exactly. I can
it's
monitor
so
them and have the
frightening.
information for 911. And it's good for the business. It promotes the business. And I wouldn't mind, like taking care of infants for people while they go tour the town. I can handle
A 3 or 4 or
a
5-year-old.
little baby that's not going to run away from me.
Yeah, that's good. See, I'm afraid of holding him. I have a little grandson, and he's about 5 months old, and I'm so, I would never pick him up if I wasn't certain, but my arms just aren't strong enough, and every time I see him, he's bigger and cuter. He's the apple of my eye.
We had been talking about doing a go-to list, and I had told Laura a very similar thing, that I would be willing to volunteer to basically triage, or if necessary and I was capable of it, go there, either triage over the phone or triage at their home.
If need be.
And again, not actually practicing medicine, just simply from my health experience.
The basics.
I made it incredibly clear that it was for adults, wounds, or just a general assessment of elder care.
Right.
I didn't want any babies, no children.
I love that.
I know somebody who'd be perfect for that group.
It so fits your personality.
I'd rather do mental health.
And I want to sit back and watch it all.
Send me your crazies.
But listen, can you believe the hour's up? That was like, boom.
Oh, wow.
Let's see, we can go for hours. I don't know if it's interesting to anybody else, but I find it fascinating.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for including us in your show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You both in the past and now make it so interesting than me sitting here doing a monologue. And I certainly couldn't retell that joke again. I'll have to go back and listen to it 3 times, but it really did. That was a great one. And but just thank you for both taking time out of your day. I know you're both very busy right now, and I'll let you get back to what you're doing and calling in. It's been very informative, and you've really got me fired up on this right now. My brain's going to be churning all the way home of how to make this happen.
Well, hey, listen, if you really want to sell your house and buy a place on the beach, I'll rent from you.
I was going to say, I'm going to rent my house. It's right by my kids, within 2 miles. Rent it to them, whatever. It's in a nice neighborhood, but and it's like my only nest egg I have. But to find an investor and then I could rent there, it would make sense for me. Then whatever money
Yeah.
I get out of my rent, I still have that. Anyway, all that doesn't matter. But I think we could come out inexpensively and also have someone come in and do the deep cleaning for us. But
Oh, I've got the perfect person.
Oh, good.
I know this
Good.
really
It's
cute
gonna
little
be-
gay guy that comes to my house every 2 months.
Really?
That's all I can afford.
Well,
1 month I have Dennis come and clean. He does a really good job for $40.
well,
And the next month I go get a haircut. I alternate.
And anybody that's listening, this is not obviously just about the three of us talking tonight.
no, not at
I'm
all.
sure there's got to be
No.
people out there that even know people that know people. Please, anybody that has suggestions or ideas, give us a call, and
Yes.
we'd love to have as many suggestions
Input.
or ideas as
Right.
possible.
Somebody
About
out
any-
there has a
know, I-
real estate background that could know the property that would be ideal and knows the owner that would maybe be up to renovating it. Right now real estate's cheap. It's a good place to invest your money. And
Well, no. Yeah, keep
we-
in
we
mind
would
that,
keep
that
the
we
rooms
are
full.
in, the Tampa Bay area, and
Of
I
course.
guess we'd want to stay in this area if we're all
Yes.
going to be together.
yes.
And
Yes.
I would prefer, something around Indian Rocks Beach or downtown St. Petersburg or
Just the water works for me.
Dunedin, Clearwater.
All gorgeous.
What about you, gals?
It's all gorgeous. I'm getting the 10-second mark here. So,
Okay.
but I'm on it. I'm gonna.
Well, let's get us a Facebook page so everybody can contribute in whatever ways they want
Okay.
during our discussion.
And we've got a Facebook page. It's Fibro Friends radioshow.com. And it's not much going on there. I haven't put the time into it, but go there or go to our Facebook. We also have a Facebook, Fibro
Okay.
Friends TV show,
Let's-
Facebook.
Let's keep doing this dialogue.
Yeah.
I think it's a good format.
And let's keep
I do
adding to
too.
the ideas. I love it. All right,
Okay,
business
great.
Good
partners.
show, girls.
Yep, we're
Okay.
wrapping it up. You guys take it easy. Have a great night.
Remember,
And we'll see you next
fibromyalgia
time.
can strike any person at
You
any
too.
age. If
Bye-bye.
you feel that you may be suffering from fibromyalgia, please contact your medical provider as soon as possible for proper diagnosis and a treatment plan that works for you. We are not a replacement for professional medical advice, but we are your Fibro Friends for advocacy and education and support. We encourage you to share via email, Facebook, or Twitter through a link from any of our shows that can be found on our website at fibrofriendsradioshow.com and on Facebook at Fibro Friends Radio Show. With your doctor's support system of friends and family and your fellow Fibro friends. Remember, laughter is still the best medicine, so share the Fibro funny today and keep a smile on your face and in your heart. So pass this Fibro Friends smiling, gentle hug full of love to someone in pain today, because it's always the love that heals.